Hey guys, how's it going? This is a Razor MX500. I've had it for over 10 years now. My dad picked this up for really cheap because it was missing the rear wheel and it didn't have a charger. I bought a new rear wheel for it. I think it cost me about 30 bucks and a charger probably another 50 or 60 bucks. And I had it running at one point, but eventually the batteries went dead and they are now all bloated and they're only reading about 4 volts. So they need to be replaced, but why replace it with another sealed lead acid battery when you can put in a lithium ion battery pack? So the stock battery pack is 3 sealed lead acid batteries, 12 volts each. It's a 36 volt pack, and I put in a 10S 10P lithium ion battery pack from Lunicycle. This pack has a built-in BMS, 50 amp continuous, 80 amp burst. The only thing that I had to do in order to get it to install into the Razor MX500 is build this little harness here. So this is the stock connector on the Razor. This connector here was attached to the batteries. I cut that off, and also this fuse holder was also attached to the batteries. It's a 30 amp fuse. I cut that off and I made this little adapter harness. That's an XT90 spark resistant male plug there on that end, which plugs into the XT90 connector on the battery pack. I did keep the fuse. The battery does have a BMS which protects the battery, but the 30 amp fuse protects all the wiring in the bike as well as the controller and the motor. So really important to keep that fuse in there, especially since little kids are going to be riding this. So the stock battery pack is a 12 amp hour pack, and these weigh 26 pounds. The new battery pack is a 20 amp hour pack and it only weighs 10 pounds. So a reduction of 16 pounds. It did make a difference when I was riding it. I'm sure it'll make even more of a difference when some kid who's only 100 pounds or maybe even less is riding it. I weigh 180 and I still saw a performance improvement over the stock pack. So in addition to building this harness here, this battery pack is a little bit too big to fit into this bottom tray. So 2 of the stock batteries would go into this bottom tray, and then 1 battery would go up into this upper tray. Now I just have this 1 battery to put in, or the pack. However, it's a little bit too long this way to fit in this bottom tray. So rather than bending the metal and doing anything like that, I have these little foam blocks that I had from another project, and they have some double-sided tape on one end, and I put those into the tray here, which raises it up just enough so that it's above the metal lip. And now I can put that pack in here and it fits in there. And then I just put some zip ties on the pack like this. And I'll tighten those up. And I'd put one on the other side too. I did test it out with the zip ties like that, and it does get some cushion there because of the foam blocks. I was jumping it off some steps, maybe 2 or 3 steps, nothing too big, but I'm 180 pounds again, and so it held up just fine. And I also even had it laying on its side in a car, and the battery didn't move around at all, so hold in pretty good. The battery does come with 2 different connectors. One is that XT90 spark resistant connector. That'll go to the harness that I made. And then get plugged into the side panel with the on-off switch on the side. There's a second connector on there, which is an XT60, and right now there is a female connector on there. It actually came with a male connector. I was probing it to test for voltage and accidentally shorted the two pins. So it melted some of the metal on the pins there, and you can see all the soot inside the connector. And then here's the test lead was melted and charred up a little bit too. So always be careful when you are working with high voltage. I was a little bit careless and did have some sparking, so I replaced it with a different connector. I felt more comfortable with a female connector on there. I can see why, this is actually supposed to connect up to the charger, and if you were going to have the charger, I could see why you might want to have female on the charger side as well, but I'm not going to be using it like that, so I put a female on there. The charger, you will be able to use the stock charger, and it'll just plug in to the side of the bike using the normal XLR connector. So right into that side connector on the bike. And then it'll get charged up that way. It does take a really long time. This is a 1.5 amp charger, 20 amp hour battery, so it's about 13 hours to charge it up. The stock battery was only 12 amp hours, so it would take 8 hours. So you can get a faster charger, may do that, but haven't done it yet. So with this other connector, I went ahead and I decided to use that for a digital voltmeter. So connected that up, put a fuse on there. Again, want to make sure you're fusing anytime you're connecting to the battery, and that's going to a digital voltmeter that I put into the little gas cap area of the Razor. So it's on a switch here, and if you can read that or not, it says 40.6 volts. I put it on this switch so that you could check the voltage even with the bike off. It does have a battery indicator on the throttle. It comes on its stock, so the power light comes on, and then you get a full green, and then it'll go yellow low. Having the digital voltmeter on there will give you a much better idea of how much ride time you have left, as well as how much charge time you have left. So I noticed that with this stock charger, once it gets up above about 38 or 39 volts, I'm not sure what the exact threshold is, but if you turn the bike on, the charger stops charging, and then when you flip the switch back to off, if it's above that threshold, the charger sees that the battery thinks it's already fully charged, and doesn't charge anymore. That's because of the lithium ion versus the sealed lead acid. So it will charge it all the way up to 41.2 volts if you just if it's lower than whatever that threshold is, and then you just leave it charging without turning the bike on. It'll go up all the way to 41.2, and then you can use the digital voltmeter to check the voltage, and you don't have to flip the bike on. So as far as performance goes, the Razor, they claim that with the stock batteries that you can go for 40 minutes or about 10 miles, and they say that the top speed is 15 miles per hour. So I took it on a 23.56 mile trip and rode it for 137 minutes, and I had it on wide open throttle the entire time, and it was able to maintain that speed. So you can see the chart there. Hopefully you can see it. The blue line is the speed, and the green line is the elevation. So you can see right here, that's 15 miles per hour. And you can see that blue line, for the most part, even when it's going up really steep hills, is staying really close to that 15 mile per hour mark. And I was actually able even to go 17 miles an hour on flat ground. So again, I weigh 180 pounds. You can imagine that a kid who only weighs about 100 would be able to go much further. So I'm looking forward to giving this to my nieces for Christmas, and I hope they enjoy it, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And if anybody else is looking to do this conversion, that battery pack is from Luna-Cycle. It's $300. They do sell one that's $350, which is slightly smaller, and that one might actually fit in there and be able to use the stock brackets to hold it in. So good luck for anybody else who tries it. Thanks.